everyone. Happy Thursday evening. Thanks for joining. If you're joining me late night tonight, I had to come on and share this story. It's overdue. I posted like a week and a half ago, who do I know that has been abandoned by their parents? And there was definitely some kickback from a few people on that post, on that question, and the nonchalance of it. And I was asking it for my own personal reasons. I was really just looking for some people I could talk to for my own personal healing, who have gone through something I have or something similar. And due to the kickback, I decided to kind of divulge and get into a conversation about, the reasoning and or the not displaying the reasoning, whatever. Anyways, long story short, I did post on there. I would share my story and create a video about how I was ghosted by my father. So in this video, I'm going to talk about boundaries. I'm going to talk about what happened there and the reason I'm sharing. And let me know if you're comment below if you're watching, because I can't see who's watching. So let me know who you are if you're watching live. So yeah, I'm gonna share because, first of all, sharing is serving, and I've learned that through a lot of different circles I've done and groups I've done. It's really a service to others when you share your story, as scary as it may be. And I want people to know they're not alone. So, for so long, I held shame around the fact that two parents just kind of kicked me out of their life rapidly. And it was embarrassing. I let it be embarrassing. I let it be shameful. It was always super awkward in the past when people would ask me about, oh, so what does your dad do? Or where does your dad live? And I'm like, well, we don't talk. And it just, suddenly things were awkward, or yeah, he chose not to be in my life. And then I had this feeling like, what's wrong with me? Like, this person's gonna think something's wrong with me, that my own father abandoned me. Like, so much shame that I let myself hold on to. And if I had known other people that had gone through something similar, or just more people had talked about this kind of thing, it would have really helped me process my grief. So that's this is totally unscripted, by the way. I literally have like 5 notes. I just I told people I was gonna share this last week, and I didn't, and it was overdue. And lots of things came up this week with boundaries, which is kind of related to the whole thing. But essentially, I'll kind of share the backstory. So yeah, there's so much to it. So I'll try to make a long story short. But essentially, growing up in that household, I didn't really have the opportunity to have opinions, emotions, feelings, privacy, diary. That would get snooped on. I'd get punished for any feelings or opinions expressed that the reader didn't agree with or like. If they didn't like my feelings, it was wrong. So what did this teach me? This taught me over time to not stand up for myself, to not have a voice, to not have an opinion, to walk delicately, walk on eggshells, and a lot of times we'd be reprimanded or punished for things we didn't even know we did. 2 weeks later, we'd go over there and there'd be a note on our door or something like that. And for so long, I censored myself. I didn't really want to share the details of the emotional abuse that I went through, just fear of repercussion, things like that. But I'm not going to name names and whatnot, because it's not relevant. The relevance is that if you've gone through this, you're not alone, and you can find a solution to get out of the situation you're in. So essentially, growing up, as a child, I always had this feeling like, okay, I know this isn't right. I know this treatment isn't right, and I just know this manipulation isn't right, and this constant back and forth, and having to force forgiveness and not being able to process things in a healthy way. I just knew it wasn't right, and I was like, I have a feeling growing up I'm not gonna have these people in my life. And I also noticed over the years they were kind of plucking people, family members, out of their life one by one, and I just happened to be the last one to go. So, yeah, people close to me were plucked out in front of my eyes, and so that just taught me to keep it more censored, keep it more silent, be more delicate with my words. If I was to share something that was edgy, I probably had to think about it for a week. Just ruminate in my mind. What is a way for me to phrase this so that I don't get reprimanded, so I don't get in trouble. But I found I couldn't win, and as I got older and older, no matter what, I wouldn't win, and the fights would just escalate, and it got to a point that I was living with them in college my last year to save money, and I had to get out from a fight suddenly. So essentially, after that fight, which in my mind, like, it was kind of swept under the rug, and I just moved out, and then I was just like, I'm fine, everything's fine, it's no big deal. And then the stepmother reached out through voicemail and email and saying, like, we need to discuss this, we need to talk about this. And in my mind, I wasn't ready. I had a lot of emotions I needed to process, and I just wasn't ready. And I'm sure you felt times in your life people try to force you to resolve something before you've even processed it, or maybe they like try to force you to talk when you're not ready to speak. Well, I simply emailed back, I will call you when I'm ready. And then that was the straw that broke the camel's back. So at that point, I got angry emails and voicemails. Let the chips fall where they may. I'm done with you. We're finished. I'm through. This relationship's over. And I was honestly shocked and stunned. Like, I wasn't expecting that dramatic of a response. And it was just interesting because I went to choir that day, and my teacher, like, I was a sobbing mess. And my teacher's like, it's just a fight, you're fine. And I'm like, no, 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 you don't know my family. You don't know my parents. Luckily, I listened to myself then, and I left and went to go see my mom and process. But shortly after that, I mean, my father took me off his health care, and that was kind of a sign. I had my college graduation a few months later, well, I had my birthday a few weeks after, didn't hear anything. College graduation, sent an invitation, it got returned in the mail. And, yeah, just pretty much they disappeared out of my life, and my father just followed suit with my stepmom. And, it was incredibly hurtful, extremely difficult, and I did, go back and forth in my mind for a year until I finally reached out to him of, I don't want to make the move, but I don't want to be on my deathbed at 80 years old wondering, what if I had just picked up the phone? What if I had just, been the bigger person, whatever that phrase means, and made the effort to reach out. And so a year later, I did, to let him know I was going to go to Ecuador, and I left a voicemail, just get cake. If you could just call me in the next few months, it'd be great to chat, great to talk to you. And that was that. After that, I went to Ecuador, and I had started having drinking problems before that. Yeah, like, I started struggling with alcohol and overconsumption in my peer group, and especially in Ecuador, I would get really drunk and I would just become a bawling mess. It's just like, my father abandoned me, and I have daddy issues and all of this shit. And yeah, wasn't the healthiest way to process. And until I really found the tools that I have now, I wasn't really ready to fully process it. In fact, like it was only last year, a year and a half ago, that I admitted that I went through emotional abuse. And what's interesting is when I was in a carjacking in my last year of college, I was 21, and I was talking to my therapist about at the school, like about the PTSD and how it was triggering shit from my childhood. And he was said the word emotional abuse, but it didn't register in my mind because I was so programmed to believe that how they were raising me was okay, that was right, and that I was the one that was wrong. It was constant gaslighting, and I was so programmed to just mute myself, to not have a voice, that when the therapist even said I went through emotional abuse, it didn't even register until years later. I was ready to, my unconscious mind, I was in the container of, NLP and hypnosis, timeline therapy, and in that container of growth that my body could feel safe to process. So it didn't happen overnight. I mean, I made huge breakthroughs in my master's training and then working with a coach after that continuously. And it's been quite the journey, but I mean, I've overcome so much. I've let go of so much of my past, and yeah, appreciate y'all watching this now and today and for hearing my story. But yeah, so that happened, and if you've gone through something like that, I want you to know that you're not alone, and others' behavior and treatment of you is not a reflection of you, it's a reflection of them. Please let that sink in. How others treat you and behave, it's their own shit. It does not determine your worth by any means. And your voice is valid, your opinions are valid, your feelings are valid. They deserve to be shared, they deserve to be heard, they deserve to be witnessed. And I want you to start speaking up for yourself. I want you to validate yourself. I want you to be relentless in your pursuit of a positive community of people that are going to lift you up, support you, hear what you have to say, and want to know how you're feeling, how you're thinking, and what your opinions are. Because they see your worth. Because you are worth that. So, I'm so happy and grateful for my mentors, Deb and Brandon Yeager, who got me started on this whole personal growth and development journey, and just starting to, helping me start to shed all those layers, and then continuously investing in myself in different programs as well, to heal from all the shit that I went through. And it's, it's a process, and I've come so incredibly far. I mean, I coach people with these same problems, or the same problems that I used to deal with. So yeah, hold your boundaries. It's so important. Even though I lost 2 parents from holding my boundaries, I'm still sticking up for myself. I'm still fighting for myself, and I want to help you do the same. I want you to start fighting for yourself too, and fighting for your voice, because it's so important that you speak up for yourself, because you will not regret setting a boundary, but you will regret not doing it. And if anyone has trained you to not set your boundaries, or that your boundaries are wrong, your feelings are wrong, or opinions are wrong, no. That's manipulation and control. So, yeah, I covered it. That was pretty much all I wanted to say. So thank you for watching. Thank you, Lee, and so appreciate y'all being here, like I said, to witness this. And if you know of anyone that could benefit from hearing these words, please share and tag them with those that could benefit from seeing this. But I hope you have a wonderful, beautiful night. If you have any comments or questions, I'm so game to hear them. And I love y'all and take care.